welcome to today's episode of The Daily Blend. I'm your host, AC, and we are joined in studio today by Kale Monk, Associate Professor of the MU College of Human Development and Family Sciences. Is that right? That's a long...
The Department of Human Development and Family Science.
It's the Department of Human Development.
But we're in the College of Education and Human Development. So you're not totally wrong.
Not so far off.
Yeah.
Not so far off. Kale, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. I've been wanting to get you here for a long time because, I hear you're considered a relationship expert.
Well, it depends on who you ask, I guess.
If I ask your wife, Allie.
Well, maybe not.
Maybe not. But if I ask other people,
yeah,
they would say, Kale's really good at the relationship stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Understood.
Like
Listen, totally understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me kind of a little bit about how that even comes to be.
Yeah. So I did my master's in couple and family therapy from Kansas State University before going on to earn my PhD in family science at the University of Illinois, and then moved here to Mizzou to work in the Department of Human Development and Family Science and Extension as well. So delivering some education to the community.
I mean, it's quite interesting, though. What about relationships interests you enough for you to say, I think I maybe want to specialize there?
Yeah, so we always think of relationships as being sort of the most critical aspects of our life. So if I were to ask you what is the most important thing in your life, you would probably talk about your daughters,
yes,
your fun husband. I've
yes,
met him. I love your mom. You'd probably talk about
yes,
your mom. So our family and our friends, our relationships are really important, right? And so that's where I wanted to learn how to make them better.
That's an interesting thing. So when you say when I say relationship expert, what kind of things do people call on you for research about? Like, what kind of things do people ask you about?
Yeah, so one of the things that we talk about most is just making sure people recognize how important relationships are, because they're not just important in the sentimental sense, right? They also have a really robust influence on our health. So across hundreds of studies, they've found that relationships, social support exerts more of an influence on how long we live than smoking cigarettes, environmental pollution, even exercise. So just articulating how important our connections are.
I guess that would explain then why sometimes as people get older and they feel lonely, I've seen it in my own family. So I would imagine keeping people surrounded by relationships that are important to them, it could be really beneficial.
Yeah, and what's surprising is actually young adults that tend to be the most lonely, especially like college age students. But older adults, it is developmentally abnormal for them to be lonely. But then when they are lonely, it's even more serious to consider.
Yeah, I could see that. What do you see now? Like when we talk about young adults in this same arena that maybe you didn't see, several years ago, because I feel like things have changed.
Oh, yeah.
Social media has changed some things.
The dating landscape is really different. So the majority of couples are meeting online now. For example, that's one big shift that we've seen over the last several decades. There's introductions of new relationship stages, such as a situationship, where people don't really know how to define it. So there's a lot of ambiguity now. There's may not be clear linear stages like we used to think that there were.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I'm amazed by the amount of, we watch a lot of like House Hunters, and when they talk about how they met, how many people now have met online.
Yep.
I mean, do you find that people aren't meeting like face to face as much anymore?
They still do, certainly. Even students in my class will talk about meeting partners through friends, and that's still very common.
Okay.
It just happens to be that the most common way is through online dating.
Does that feel healthy? I mean, I don't know. I'm just wondering, like because people, as we all know, you can develop a persona online that may not be who you actually are.
There can be a lot of deception, and that can be concerning, but there are some benefits as well. So you can get to know each other first emotionally, figure out what each other's interests are, figure out if you have things in common before you progress to the next stage that might make it harder to leave the relationship. So it's sort of like there are pros and cons to every strategy.
I never thought about it like that, but I guess that does make sense.
Yeah.
If both people are bringing their authentic selves to the online meeting, then I can see how you could develop almost a stronger bond. You know more about each other.
Yeah, and being clear about your goals as well.
Okay, so okay, so when my single daughter says I met somebody online, I'm gonna be like, okay, bring your authentic self.
Yeah,
online.
that's right.
And
No catfishing.
No, please, please, no catfishing. Please, no catfishing. So tell me a little bit about if somebody comes to you. Do you get friends who come to you and say?
Yeah, so a popular question, this is mostly from my students, is should I play hard to get? So if they're single, wondering how to attract someone else, a popular question is should I play hard to get, right? Because they think, oh, I don't want to seem desperate. But research consistently shows that we like people who like us. We like people who laugh at our jokes, who seem interested in us. We're afraid of rejection, so we may not even approach somebody who we think is going to reject us. And so, of course, we don't want to seem overeager or desperate.
Right.
So we want to be somewhat selective. So the trick is we want to be hard to get for everyone but the person who you're interested in.
Oh, it's a lot of
it's a lot to think
rules,
about.
Kale. It's a lot of rules. So does the rule of it used to be back when I was younger? The rule was, if you get somebody's number, don't call them right away. Like make them wait. That's a psychological game, correct?
Yeah, and we tend to not want to play games in relationships. Of course, we don't want to overwhelm somebody by texting them all the time.
We don't.
But when we're early in a relationship, we experience something called limerence, where we get really excited about it. We can get obsessed, always checking our Instagram feeds, seeing if they texted us. That's normative, but we do want to temper that a little bit, perhaps. But it's okay to be excited. Yeah, enjoy that.
Yeah, and it is, when I think back to when I first met my husband, it was before all of this. I don't know if we were texting at the time, maybe. But there was the excitement, that first excitement. Oh, we're going to go on a date. Or we're going to. So, okay, I can see that. So you really want to find a good balance. You don't want to go too far one way.
Figure out what works for you and get to know your partner and see what they're interested in. What they want in a relationship is really important.
Okay, well, I feel like we're going to need to bring you back.
Yeah,
I feel like we're going to need to get questions from the people who are watching and listening, and we can just ask Dr. Kale.
Yeah, always happy to join you.
Thank you so much, Kale, for joining us. This has been very interesting, and now I have some things to talk to my single friends about.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell them exactly how to meet in the middle.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Kale.
Thank you.